Welcome back, everyone, to the FTGU Media Show. I am your host, Laura Stewart, and today I have a fellow Toronto real estate agent. There's only 65,000 of us or so, but this guy's doing some incredible stuff. Matt Lionetti, thank you and welcome for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited. I'm not on a lot of fellow Torontonian podcasts, so this is nice.
Well, we gotta support the T.O. Or has that just aged me if I say it
Maybe.
like that?
I said the 6 the other day, and they said don't say that. So I don't.
Oh God! So I'm like a generation even behind that. So
Yeah.
oh Lord, we're starting off good today. So Matt, you probably don't remember this, but we actually met. I'm going to say 2 or 3 weeks ago. You were at the shops at Don Mills. I was hanging outside with my business partner Jazz Takar. And you just gave him a quick hello, and he said hello back. Obviously, you guys know each other. You're both doing great stuff with content in the real estate realm. And I said, "Oh, who's that?" And Jess said to me, "Oh, that's Matt. That's that guy that everyone's always talking about, who's doing all the funny reels and all the funny videos." And I was like, "Yeah, I think I've heard of this guy." So you do have a bit of celebrity around you. And so obviously in the last couple of weeks, I've now done a digital deep dive on you. Take a look at all the amazing stuff you're up to. And I mean, you have one of those Instagram accounts. That's primarily where I've been doing my digital deep dive on you. And I mean, I could spend hours on your page because the content's just so funny. So I really want to just get down to it today. When did you start producing content? And why did you start, really?
So I've been in the industry for 5 years, and I've always been trying to kind of find my lane in terms of content. I started off on Teams, so I couldn't really do exactly what I wanted because you got to follow kind of their template and stuff, and rightfully so, that it's their baby, so to speak. So I started doing this kind of content about 2 years ago, and I was just sick of seeing the same thing over and over again. Like, it was just sold signs. I love my clients. And like open house. That's all I saw all the time. So yeah, I was like, there's got to be like something else I can do. And I've had a lot of these ideas since I got into the industry. And people were always like, yeah, that's funny, but like you can't, that's not how it works. You can't do that. So when I went out on my own about 2 years ago, I had a listing. It was a really shitty listing. And I had to market it. And I did like a funny video. That was my first funny video. And it sold in like 8 hours. Got 3 offers, sold over asking. And 2 of the offers actually came right from the video because they called me. They said, we saw your video. We're going to go see the house. And 2 of them ended up offering. So then once that happened, I was like, okay, there's something here. Like, it was funny and it got a lot of engagement, but then like people actually went and saw the house from it. So then I just kept expanding on it. And you can see like from the start of it to now, it's gotten like riskier, edgier. I kind of just keep seeing where I can like draw that line, and it's been fun.
Or go a little bit past the line.
Yeah, or a little bit past the line.
Yeah, I love what you said. How you were saying, I'm just always seeing the same old boring stuff. I mean, I think that's the blueprint for real estate agents. They think they need to be the classy man in a suit with the hands crossed photo, on all the signs saying just listed, just sold, and that's the only type of content they can produce. And Jazz and I, when we started producing content for Jazz's personal brand in 2018, there is that fear when you get started, right? Where you're thinking, I don't know, I want people to view me in a certain way. But what I really encouraged Jazz to do was kind of double down on his strengths, on what his unique characteristics were. Instead of trying to be somebody else, we're trying to be like that other real estate, like what makes you different? And the more he doubled down, what I found was the more that he doubled down into who he really was, the better the content got, just as you had mentioned. And so he started talking about where he grew up, and he grew up in Rexdale, which isn't the best place in Toronto. And he didn't want to talk about that previously. He also, started wearing blazers and suits to work. And then all of a sudden he started wearing t-shirts and jeans, and it became more of his authentic self. And so the point of that story is to say, like, the more that you're your authentic self, the more that you can kind of get in tune with who you really are as a person, it seems like that does better for you. So when did you decide you were like, okay, like, I'm the funny guy? I get a feeling you were probably always the funny guy. When did you say, like, this is when I'm going to do it, and this is how? Because most people are probably thinking like, I'm funny, but only around my friends. And it doesn't translate to the camera. So maybe you're like, I'm just going to go for it.
Yeah. Well, I always say, if you ask my wife, I'm not funny at all, but it's, yeah, I was always kind of like the class clown, and I always had a little bit, like even from the beginning videos, there was always like a little bit of humor I would try to slide in there. And then, I don't know, I just remember one day I was like walking my dog with my wife, and I was like, it's not fulfilling what I'm doing. Like, I don't like this. I want to try and figure something out. And actually, right before the funny videos started, I had like a crossroads. I had like some inspirational videos ready, and then like an idea of like a funny video. And then like I would do the inspirational stuff and I'd watch it. I was like, that's not me. That doesn't translate at all. Then I tried the funny thing. And my wife is a really good, like I'm lucky to have her for this, because she'll tell me straight up, like, this is terrible. This sucks. So like, everything gets run past her to make sure it's not just a terrible idea. And yeah, I mean, I always kind of like a lot of the initial jokes from the videos were like just around the office talking to other agents, and like they were getting a kick out of it. So I was like, I mean, everyone likes these jokes and thinks it's funny. I bet I can make that translate on video. And it's really all about consistency as well. And like, it's hard to be consistent with something that you're not passionate about or something that you don't enjoy doing. So as soon as I started doing this, it was way easier to become consistent with it because I love doing it. And then it's helped my business and my brand.
A lot of the agents I talk to about producing content, they'll say things like, yeah, like I get it. And like, yeah, I'm watching people like Matt, I'm watching people like you or people like Jazz, and you're producing content and that's great. But what could possibly be the ROI on something like that? Like there's like this mental block in their minds where they're saying, well, how much money have you actually gotten from like a post? And I know you had said you got obviously a bit of beginner's luck where you posted something and then sold a house. But obviously over time, you probably realize it's not necessarily like every single post means that money in your pocket, right? So yeah. What do you say to people like that, where they're coming to you and they're like, I love your content, but like, you're only really doing it for the entertainment value. You couldn't possibly be getting any business from that. I want you to talk a bit about how the content's changed your business.
Yeah. So a lot of people come and they say, Matt, your stuff's funny, but you're not providing any value. And I always say, well, I would argue that, making someone happy, making someone laugh is the most valuable thing you can do for them, especially when they're not having a good day. Value is not just statistics and home prices and all that stuff. Like there's more value to be given. And yeah, it's not like you post a video and you sell a house. You post a video, you sell a house. You post a video and you start a conversation. And that's all I'm looking to do with this. It's brand awareness. I post a video. I try and be kind of like, I noticed early on that like I'd get a lot of people commenting on like the band shirts I wore. So now you'll see like I wear a ton of band shirts, and I've gotten listing appointments from wearing a Ramones shirt. Oh, your video is funny. I love the Ramones. Okay, now I have a mental note of that person that they love the Ramones. So a week later, when I see a Ramones clip on Instagram, I send it to them, strike up another conversation. It's not like a get rich quick. It's just you're nurturing leads in a whole different way than we're used to. We're used to having a database and doing our 52 touches or whatever on email. This is the same thing, but it's more personal. I'm actually like taking time to talk to these people. And like so I did a Freddie Mercury video when I started all this stuff. It was one of my first ones, and just that video alone made me like $42,000 from leads, and I spent like $500 on the video. So, $42,000 in commission isn't like the most commission ever, but like pretty good return on investment from, a $500 video that I dressed up like a lunatic and walked through someone's house. So like,
I can see a bit of the resemblance. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. When I grow the mustache out, I've heard that before. So, yeah. And that's just, I always say it's only about starting conversations and making people comfortable with you.
Yeah, it's funny you said, you spent $500 and you made $42,000. People spend $500 on flyers that they, just the farm and neighborhood, right? And so in the grand scheme of things, you get to do something that you like, that showcases your personality. I hear your dog in the background, which is so funny because as I was scrolling through your Instagram, there was a picture of a dog. Obviously you have one. And it's amazing. People will think, well, I can't post any of my personal stuff. Like maybe I'm not the funny guy, but I also don't want to post my family, or I don't want to post anything that I do at home. And I'm like, that's the stuff that's really going to allow you to connect with people. By posting a dog, I said, oh, that's a dog lover. I'm a dog lover. Now we're already connecting. I would rather work with somebody who has similar interests to me. Like you mentioned with the Ramones t-shirt, right? Like you want to work with people who have similar values, similar interests as you, because 65 agents in the city. I mean, how else are people going to select? We're all top producers, right? Everyone's 1% in the city. And so what is it really that you're going to connect with people on? When you first started, I want you to kind of talk to me about the number of followers you had and how that's kind of grown over time. And the reason why I bring this up is because, again, as I'm speaking with agents and I'm really encouraging them to produce content, they'll say, some people, it's this fear that gets in their way, right? And they'll say, yeah, but like, Matt can do it because he's got, what are we at, 20, almost 30,000 followers, right? So he has a reason to do it. He has people who are engaged with him, and I don't have that kind of followership. So what's the point? What's the point of that? What would you say to those people, and tell them a little bit about your journey?
Yeah. So when I posted that first video on that house, I had 800 followers. That was 2 years ago. Yeah. So I had 800 followers, and I was just doing it because I like to do it. It just grew. Like once you have content that people like and latch onto and share, it starts growing. And then, when I got from 800 to 1,200 followers, I was like, oh, that's awesome. That was great growth. And now I need to do more because maybe I can double, the 1,200. And then I just set goals. So like I had a goal last year to hit 10,000 followers. And the day before New Year's, I hit 10,000 followers. And then this year, I've already had 20,000 followers. Yeah. So, and now my goal is 50,000 followers. And people are always like, yeah, like, it doesn't, your follower count doesn't matter. And like, I get where they're coming from. Yeah. It's not like, we're not like Justin Bieber or something like that, but it does matter in the sense of like where the industry's going. Your social credibility is going to start playing a way bigger part than you think. And even now, when I do hit listing appointments, which I don't really compete for anymore because of the content, when I get a call, they call me because they want to work with me.
Yeah.
But when I do compete, everyone's still saying like, oh yeah, we're going to get your house on Realtor.ca and all this stuff. Everyone's going to do that. What I say immediately is, and in my market around, I work a lot of Durham as well. I go, okay, well, as soon as I leave your house, I'm going to post it coming soon at 30,000 followers. Of course, the 30,000 people aren't all directly around here, but that's something extra that I have over someone else. And the way I am, I look for pretty much everything on Instagram or Facebook or something like that. So when I see an agent who has 30,000 followers and then an agent who has, 1,000, personally, I put more like value into that 30,000. They must have 30,000 for a reason. And don't fake it though. Don't buy your followers because it's so easily tracked now. People have like 100,000 followers and 10 likes and no comments. Like,
that's more embarrassing than not having any followers.
Yes. And the followers aren't everything. You can be a great agent and have 1,200 followers, 2,000 followers, whatever. But I'm just saying, it does matter, and it can matter. And to some people, it really does matter. Like for someone like me, it matters. Like I want to know that and that's why, like Ryan, we have an opportunity to have our own TV show. We don't need Bravo or HGTV or any of these networks anymore. That's what made Ryan Serhant so big, and Josh Altman and Josh Flegg. But we have an opportunity to do that ourselves.
I love that. You're right. We totally have the opportunity to do it ourselves. In regard to, the followers, I love what you said, because that is giving you your street cred nowadays. For the people who don't have a huge followership, like you said, you had 800 followers. At the start, your focus really should be less about trying to get the followers and more about trying to provide value for the ones that you do have. So you're trying to go deep within the community that you do have. And you do that by providing them education or entertainment or some mix of both. I like to call it edutainment. which is what you're obviously doing really, really well. When you come up with a concept for content, like, are you in the middle of the night jotting stuff down on paper? Do you storyboard everything? What's the process from idea to actual execution for you?
It depends. Some just like really come. Like I did an M&M video. If Stan were a real estate agent, that one just kind of like came. I did in like 2 days, and then some I have to write down. And like when I'm going through my day, I write everything down. If I see something funny or if I'm on a showing, something happens, I just like jot everything down, and then I'll go and like at the end of the night or on the weekend, I'll look at my ideas and be like, okay, this could be a fun next one. Everything's kind of like time blocked in terms of, I'm going to film this day. I don't really I'll storyboard. I use a video crew for some of the videos. Like I did a Drake video.
Yes, the infamous Drake video.
Yes, exactly. So I'll storyboard all that just so I know exactly what I'm doing, and everything's scripted. So I write everything, and no matter what the content, I really, really believe you should script everything to a T, right down to the last word. People say, oh, I'm more natural, I can do it. I get that. I'm the same way. Once I have the script, I don't necessarily follow it, but I know, I'm going to hit my beginning, my middle, and my end. And that's how you're going to stop saying, all that shit. You're going to get rid of that. So I write it all down, and I practice it like I'm an actor, like I'm Brad Pitt. I practice it. Like I'll be in the shower practicing my lines, and my wife will always.
You know what? You look more like Brad Pitt than Freddie Mercury. That would, I think.
Yeah, I usually just get Chris Hemsworth and Jason Momoa, but yeah, and then I know, once I have the script and I know it, I can veer off and do whatever I want. But I need to have that like the beginning, middle, and end. And that's
Matt, this sounds like it takes quite a bit of time, right? And I hear from agents like, well, I don't have time to be producing content. I'm actually busy. Or they'll think of something that they want to do, but then it takes them a month and a half to do it because they're constantly on the clock with their clients and whatnot. How do you kind of organize your time so that you're still an incredible agent? Because you're actually a practicing agent. You're not just out here shooting content for the gram, right? Like you're selling houses. How is it that you figure out your timing so that you can get it all done?
Yeah. When agents say that, they're lying. They don't want to make the time. Everyone has time. You know how many times during the day I'm just like there's some days, and like no one will admit this, but some days I don't do anything. Like I literally don't have anything to do. So I just create, we all have those days, but no one admits it. Like, so.
Do you think it's a bit of fear, Matt? Do you think it's fear from people? Like they're nervous for the judgment and they're procrastinating because of, it's not going to be good enough or whatever I produce and I got to reproduce it and I feel fat today or my hair and makeup's not done, whatever it is. Do you think it's the fear of judgment that's holding them back more than like laziness?
Yeah, it could be that too. I think it's a bit of both. Like, but right away, what people have to understand about like their looks, no one knows what you're supposed to look like. So like, I remember early on, I'd be like, oh, my hair looked weird there, but like, no one knows what my hair is supposed to look like. So no one is focusing on that but me. And like usually most of the videos I do, I look like shit. It's about the content, I'm not a model. So that's not why people are coming to my page. And then,
well, that's probably why people are connecting with you too, right? Because you're easy to associate with. You're kind of like a regular guy. Like people can watch that and say, I'm like this person, right? It's versus like us watching someone who's completely done up where it just seems so unattainable. So I'm sure that's part of your charisma.
Yeah. And that's always what I wanted. And now that I'm getting into the higher end price range, I wanted to keep that contrast of like, I'm the least luxurious person ever. Like I go to a restaurant and order chicken tenders at a steakhouse, like that. I just like not luxurious at all. But,
you're that asshole. I got it.
Yeah, exactly. So like, I really wanted to keep that, like, I'm just a normal dude. And yeah, I'm selling like higher end houses, but it's just like, it's not like a lot of people try and make it like, oh, another day in the office, selling these high end houses. And I think sometimes that could actually hurt them being so polished especially when you first get into the industry, you got to have a real niche and know that you're going to be selling luxury real estate. Because to me, if you're like in your suit and you're showing your watches and your Gucci belts and like your Mercedes, the person who's struggling to save up for a down payment on a $600,000 house isn't going to connect with that or appreciate you flaunting all your things. So like, I feel like that actually can hurt some people, and that's fine if that's them and that's what they want to put out. That's fine. But like, I was just never that person. I don't want to be like, I don't want anyone to ever think that like I'm just like some stuck up asshole.
Yeah, or that you sold out from who you really are, right? You want to make sure that like you're just the same guy that you were yesterday, and now you're just putting it out for the world to see. Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about, so we own a media company, so obviously I have access to a media squad. So we have a videographer, we have an editor, we have someone who pulls clips, and we have someone who can create images and branding and stuff for us. And so people will say to me, well, Laura, it's easy for you to produce content. You have a whole team. Jazz, it's easy for you guys to produce content. You have all these people who are working for you. We don't have anybody. I really want to stress to people that that's not how it started. It was just Jazz and myself. I would hold the camera up, and by camera, I mean my phone, because I don't know how to work a real camera, and shoot him doing something, and we would post it. We wouldn't do anything to the color. We wouldn't put any types of filters on. That's definitely how it started, and we grew into it. As well as nowadays, I still don't want all of my content to look that polished, right? Like sometimes I'll want like a beautifully edited piece of content, but every now and then I still want to throw in like something that's created by me. So it took me, the other day I was doing a reel where I'm changing outfits and it was this whole ordeal, and it took a couple hours for me to do it, but I did it from start to end. And so I really want to drive home to people that you have to prioritize this as something that you want to do and the team you can grow into. So Matt, can you talk a little bit about your team? Who's on your squad? Is it just you, and how you kind of grew into having a team? Because I presume that you have a team that's helping you now.
Yeah, I mean, still though, I do a lot on just my iPhone, or like a lot of the stuff is my wife filming. After she's a teacher, after work, she'll come home and film. I've purchased like a nicer camera now that I use, but I still do a lot of like selfie mode rant in my car, and those get some of the best engagement. Literally sitting in my car, selfie mode, because it's easy to connect with, and that's kind of like the trend right now. So yeah, like I'd say probably 85-90% I still do myself with my wife, and then I'll hire out for like my listing videos and stuff like that, or like the Drake video, I'll hire out when I know I need something just a little more polished. But it's like the Eminem video I did, over 100,000 views and bunch of comments, all that stuff. That was me and my wife, like just figuring it out. And I don't know anything. We don't know how to do anything. Like
we're real estate agents. We didn't go to school for this stuff,
no,
right?
We don't know how to film. I edit most of them myself. I bought Final Cut Pro, and I just do a couple YouTube tutorials. Like it's really not that difficult. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. If you want to do it, you'll find time to do it.
Isn't it funny how YouTube can help you pretty much figure everything else out? When I started in 2018, Jazz and I started a podcast, I am the least tech savvy person. Like it's really quite embarrassing. And I was the one that produced the podcast. He was the host, but I was the one recording it, figuring out the audio, figured out how to put a beginning, like an intro and an outro on it, and then uploaded it to YouTube and all the podcast platforms. I didn't know a single thing. Like I'm really telling people, I'm a science student and then a fashion kind of, like I have experience in fashion. So like nowhere in my experience of life have I really ever touched any type of equipment. And so the point is, guys, you got to just try to figure it out. If it's important to you, get online, Google some things, and kind of sort it out for yourself. Matt, I really appreciate you being here with us today. I'm just hoping that maybe you can leave our listeners with, one tip. It can be anything from producing content, how to do it, or maybe some platforms that you're kind of looking into and things that you're interested in. What's your one tip to leave with our listeners today?
I'd say, my one tip, first, you have to do video. I mean, video is the future of our industry. You have to get on it. It breaks down a wall. It makes people feel like they know you before they know you. And it's way easier to call someone that you feel like you know. You can't hide behind sold signs and houses anymore. My one tip would be try everything. So have trial and error on your page. You can try stuff in your stories. Stories go away in 24 hours. That's where I try all my new content. I do a rant or I do something new and I try it in my story. If it gets a lot of engagement, it makes it to the main feed. But when you post a great video and you get good engagement, that's awesome. And then sometimes you'll post a video that's not as good. That's still good for you because now you can figure out, okay, why did this video work and this video not work? And then you can start tailoring your content to your followers. And that's how you're going to build your engagement, build your followers, and just take risks. I mean, be yourself. And like you said, bring your personality into it because people don't care about how many houses you sell anymore. They really don't. Like, that's not doing the trick anymore. They want to connect with you. They want to be your friend. So bring out your personality, show your family, show your dog, show your hobbies and your passions.
I love that, Matt. Thank you. I'm going to leave my quick tip for today, because we're talking so much about engagement, is that if someone actually takes the time to like, comment, send you an emoji on any of your social media platforms, take the time, do yourself a favor and take the time to respond back to that person, even if it's just a like back or another emoji back to them, whatever it is. Nowadays, people are scrolling by so fast, and what you'll learn is that most people don't even take the time to like something. So if someone actually stops on your video or your post and takes the time to comment, do the right thing, be respectful, and comment back, because that's how you're really going to build the engagement. So don't feel like you can just post something and walk away. Make sure you're taking care of that audience.
Exactly.
Matt,
that's
thank
like
you again.
Before you say that, that's like holding a door. That's like someone holding the door for you and you not saying thank you. It's the same thing.
And we're in Canada. We say thank you for everything, right?
Everything, exactly.
Love that, Matt. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Keep up the amazing entertaining work. I'm definitely following along, and I absolutely love it. So thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me.
Take care.